So, when I started meditation, I didn't really know what I was looking for. But when I look now in the retrospective, more than anything, what I was looking for was clarity. And meditation gives you an absolute clarity. And by absolute clarity, I mean that the very question that whether I should do this or I should do that or what I should do completely goes away. So for me, like this is one of the biggest benefit of meditation. So in this video, let's take a look what do I mean by absolute clarity and how does meditation helps you to get there. So in terms of meditation, first thing it gives you is that degree of mindfulness that you can see exactly what is going on inside yourself. And when I say like I want to be happy, what does that mean? What does it mean that I want to be happy? Yeah, if I say I want to be content, full, what does this mean, right? How does this experience of happiness and contentment feels like, and can it be sustained, or is it one of those temporary emotions? And all these things becomes very clear when we have this level of mindfulness where we can see all these things. If we don't have mindfulness, then nothing really, nothing really is clear, right? Everything is very confusing because we just cannot see. Yeah. So, first thing that mindfulness gives with the practice, meditation gives with the practice, it builds the mindfulness. It's help you to see all the different things and their nature that is happening inside you very clearly, right? The more you practice, the more you reach a space where you can see all these different phenomena very clearly. So that's the first step, yeah. And what Vipassana offers in terms of the nature, actual nature of reality, and that what you can experience inside yourself is very simple, right? So, what is happening is basically, for example, if we take a hypothetical situation, let's say I'm feeling very clear and complete inside myself, right? I have no thoughts and emotions going on. I'm just feeling very clear and very whole inside myself. Now I go outside and I interact with the world. Let's say I met somebody and that some person said something nice about myself. When he says something nice about myself, I started feeling different sensation and feeling in my body, right? And what happens is when I feel this different sensation and feeling in my body, a part of my mind attached to it. And when it attached to that feeling, it generates some scar, it generates an impression. And that impression start creating different cravings. And those cravings comes in the form of, on the surface, it manifests as a thoughts. So what happens is I was there feeling whole and complete. Let's say, for assumption, that's my natural state. I was just feeling very whole and complete. I met this person. He said something nice. I felt some way. And when I move after that conversation, my mind starts generating some kind of thoughts. And what it is trying to do is, it is trying to recreate the same feeling because there was an attachment to that feeling. Yeah. Now I move a little bit further. And this time maybe I had something nice food to eat. Now, when I'm eating that food, I start feeling a different type of uh, nice feeling inside myself or different type of sensation. And then I get attached to that. Now, when I'm going out, there's more thoughts in my head, right? And this is something which is even light when we are talking about. We have a lot of very deep and very intense experiences in our life, right? Imagine somebody you loved passed away, or imagine when you are small, your parents are fighting, and then you are processing all these things. Yeah. So, throughout, like for me, more than 30 years, all these different experiences are constantly having. And because there is a system in me which is attaching and aversing toward different feelings and sensation, I keep generating these samskaras, right? So, what happens at this point? There is a lot of thoughts and lot of chaos and lot of noise inside my head because there is a lot of these attachment that happened in the past, and there's a lot of these samskaras that attachment generates, right? And they are trying to generate a lot of thoughts and emotions. It gets so bad because imagine you are doing a vipassana retreat. This is 10 days retreat. You are not doing anything, everything is being taken care for you. This is some sort of nice quiet natural space, right? There's no noise and all these distractions are going on. The food is being taken care for you, a lot of places laundry and everything is being taken care of you. All you are doing is just sitting in a nice quiet environment. You're supposed to feel good, but what you are feeling is constant noise for 10 days non-stop, right? For 10 days non-stop you are feeling different disturbances inside yourself. So I mean, that is what is telling us. If you're not haven't done this like Vipassana or something, you're just not aware about it, but this is what is happening inside you, right? Your inner state is becoming extremely uncomfortable. And what is happening once at this point, once I see that when I'm sitting alone, I'm not feeling comfortable. If I don't have done a lot of meditation or something, I'm not even aware. All I'm aware is just something is not feeling good. If you have done meditation, you are mindful enough, you can see, like, okay, I'm not comfortable, but I'm not comfortable because this is happening, right? There's a constant thoughts and emotions, there's a constant turmoil in my heart, and this is what I'm feeling when I'm not doing anything. Now what happens now at this point, what I'm trying to really do is I'm trying to find out some experience. Maybe I watch a Netflix, or maybe I go and talk to somebody, or maybe I find a partner, or maybe I try to do something that generates that nice feeling inside myself, and I try very hard to somehow sustain that feeling. But the nature of the feeling is that it's very impermanent, right? Even if I do something, I feel good. If I eat something, I feel good, but that feeling goes away very quickly, right? And in that process, I end up generating more samskaras. So my inner state keeps getting worse and worse and worse. The more I try to satisfy, or more I try to solve this discomfort by somehow generating this consistent state of pleasures. Yeah. So once you see this, once you have mindfulness, and once you can see this, this is what is going on. My inner state is extremely uncomfortable. Maybe if I don't have mindfulness, I'm not seeing it, but it is extremely uncomfortable. What I'm trying to do externally is I'm trying to find out some experiences that could make me forget it and try and generate some sort of nice feeling inside me. And I'm trying very hard to sustain it. And the more I try it, the worse it gets, right? So once you can see, okay, this is going on, and it's not some kind of a theory, this is actually going on inside me, and I can see it with the help of mindfulness, with the help of meditation. The next thing that you realize is, okay, so this is what is going on. How does one get out of this? Is there a way for me to stop this process? Is there a way for me to purify from all these past samskaras and impression that I have hold inside myself, right? So, in order for me, like this is again what Vipassana offers, right? How do I stop this? How does it happen? Is it possible that I experience something? Is it possible did I talk to next time when I meet a person and I talked to that person and the person said something nice or not so nice about me, I felt certain ways, good or bad, but that experience just ends there. Instead of me generating some sort of samskaras, and then those samskaras are creating some more thoughts and thoughts and thoughts after that, right? Is it possible for me to experience things without generating these samskaras? And what Vipassana offers here is, yes, it is possible given that you are mindful, first of all, enough, and you can see that the experience that you are having are very impermanent in their nature. If I can just see, if I can actually experience and I can see somebody talk to me and I felt certain way, but that feeling is nothing really important. That feeling was just so temporary, right? There, I mean, it is this ignorance somehow that we think this is very useful, very important experience, or like this is important enough to get attached to and generate cravings to have more and more and more experience. The more we see the nature of these experiences, the more we see there isn't really much meaning to get attached to it, but not intellectually. You actually see this again and again, and you see like, okay, mind becomes more comfortable to just experience thing instead of creating the craving and aversion towards that experience, right? So this is how you stop generating more samskaras. Obviously this is not going to happen immediately, right? It takes time to get used to it, and it's not like I'm saying I have reached that state also, right? But this is certainly possible, and this is what you can also notice when you're actually doing it, that when you're experiencing something and when you have a good amount of mindfulness, you can see, yes, the experience happened, the nature of experience was impermanent, and there's not attachment that is happening towards it. Yeah. Second thing that becomes is like all, so now when I'm walking, after I'm not having any experience, I'm just sitting, right? And my inner state is just chaos and noise, right? Is there a way to solve that state? And the way to solve that state is like everything that I have attached to, or every experience that I get attached to from the childhood to now, everything is stored. Some of them are like, I mean, if I might have like some light experience, it goes away. But there are some very deep rooted experiences as well, which is getting stored inside myself, right? And they are constantly generating these different thoughts. Is there a way to get out of it? Imagine that I am alcoholic, for example, right? Is there a way for me to get out of alcohol, right? What is going to happen is when I'm doing nothing and when I'm sitting and when I'm not feeling good and when I'm stressed, there's going to be a craving for something like alcohol, right? I'm not alcoholic, just giving the example, right? There's going to be a craving for alcohol. The way to get out of that craving permanently is to sit through that craving, right? To be comfortable to go through the experience where the craving is arising and we are not reacting. We are neither attaching nor kind of resisting, but we are capable enough. Again, you need mindfulness to do something like this, right? But once you have a mindfulness, once you see the experience of craving and you're becoming comfortable enough to sit through that craving without reacting, that very process start releasing the samskaras, right? So these are like few truth that you kind of see in the meditation very clearly. You also see sometimes, right, there are times in the, especially if you're doing meditation long enough or you're doing these 10-day retreats or longer retreats, there are times when you reach, when you see a place inside yourself where there is no thoughts and emotions are happening, and you experience something which is completely whole, right? An inner state inside you when there is not all these cravings and all that things are happening, a part of you is absolutely centered and whole, and it doesn't need anything. And something like this you might have experienced when you do a 10-day retreat, and after that, once you come back to home, you would notice at least for some time you would have a sense of calmness, that you really don't, you're not looking for anything. And when you interact in the world with that state, generally all the experiences are very wholesome and very pleasant, right? But the main thing is you're not actually looking for anything, your inner state itself is whole. And then every interaction in the world actually brings a sense of contentment as well, right? So you see the bunch of these things, right? I don't know, like if I was uh, going in too many directions. But in reality, this is what, if I summarize it, this is what we are seeing in the meditation, right? Actually, my inner state is very whole and complete. But what happened is because of these attachment, the samskaras got created, and these samskaras are generating a lot of thoughts and emotions. It gets so bad inside ourselves if we are not careful that it makes no sense. It's just so random, right? There's I have a craving that is coming, and before the craving complete, there's like five other cravings are coming. It's just complete noise and chaos. It's very uncomfortable. Nobody really likes that discomfort, right? So what we are doing is we are going to look in the world to generate some sense of pleasant feeling and try to persist that. More we try to do it, the worse the inner state gets, right? Temporarily we might feel okay, this feels nice for some time, but it just keeps making our inner state worse and worse, right? So this is the dilemma we get ourselves into. The way we can get out of it is by first of all developing enough mindfulness that we can actually see all this thing. Once we have a mindfulness, using everyday experiences to see, to sit through the different experiences that are happening, the first degree experiences, somebody praise me, or somebody, when I eat something nice, the kind of feeling I'm getting, and seeing that very nature of those feelings, very nature of those sensations, the impermanent nature of those sensations, right? And throughout the day, when I'm seeing, when I'm not doing something or when I'm doing something also, right, all these different cravings are coming, and being comfortable with the very nature of the craving. This is how we kind of purify our mind, right? It's not going to happen immediately, right? It's like it takes time to generate, it takes time to cultivate that level of mindfulness that we can actually see all this. It takes a lot of time and effort to actually be comfortable when the craving is coming and not reacting to it. And it's the nature of craving is also very repetitive, right? So it's not like, yeah, I decide today and everything is going to happen tomorrow, and I reach a point where I'm consistently releasing all my samskaras and everything. It's not going to happen, but we know exactly, once you see all this thing, right, you know exactly what is the most important thing to do, right? It makes no sense for anything like contentment or satisfaction or meaning in your life to try to do something externally to somehow, you know, subdue this noise or subdue this discomfort inside ourselves. It just doesn't make any sense. So there's only one real thing to do in terms of, again, you need to take care of external life, right? It's not like I'm trying to say like nothing really matter externally and all that, right? Of course it matters, and you need to take care of external thing up to a certain point. And this is something that you do internally, and this is something which I don't know how to say, right? But once you have this enough mindfulness to see all this thing, there's only one meaningful thing to do in my life, right? And this becomes absolutely clear.